Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam Smith, and inside this feature product video, let's take a look through all the recently released products from GameGenic for Arkham Horror, the card game. Now, as many of you are aware, I'm a massive fan of Arkham Horror, the card game, and I've been that way since the very beginning in what was known now as Chapter Number 1, when the original core box released, and then expansions and cycles followed from there. I picked up every single thing for this game all the way through. That also includes finding my own third-party solutions for storage, as well as trying to deluxify the game because I enjoyed it so much. Now, of all the third-party things I picked up over the years, as the game's been out for many, many years, picking things up slowly, one by one, some of them are very, very costly. Actually, the large majority of them were very costly, hence why I picked things up slowly over the years, looking to try and deluxify the game overall. I put together a Board Game Bling video for Arkham Horror, the card game, because it's one of probably maybe one or two games I've actually gone that far with because I enjoyed it that much. So if you want to see exactly what I have third-party-wise, I'll put that video in the top right-hand corner, but just be aware those kind of products are going to be premium as they're customized. They're usually shipped from different parts of the world, which makes them very expensive, and I generally can't recommend them because of those kind of situations. But what's coming here with Chapter Number 2 for Arkham Horror, the card game, is a standardizing of some of these upgrades that everybody had to search for in the past. Now you can actually pick them up in your friendly local game store, and you don't have to worry about outrageous shipping and crazy costs. So when Arkham Horror, the card game, transitioned from Chapter Number 1 to Chapter Number 2, that's when GameGenic went ahead and released all these different types of products. Now, some of these products have actually been out in the wild in different variations in the past. I actually have deck tomes from Chapter Number 1 that look different than what is shown here from GameGenic in Chapter Number 2, but it's worth mentioning these upgrades because some of these things were, again, not standardized and not widely available. For instance, like premium connector tokens. These kind of tokens you'd have to go find off on Etsy, as I mentioned, different places. The Chaos token bag here. But the nice thing about these products is if you enjoy the actual game experience, you might be interested in one or more of the things you see here. Now, speaking about enjoying the actual game, I actually put together a full playthrough originally when the game landed so many years ago. Now, it was a very janky video. It was very low quality audio and video. I was holding the camera at the time. It was a lot of fun to go through, but I would not recommend watching that older one. But more recently, I put together a play for Chapter Number 2, and I definitely recommend you check that out if you've never heard of Arkham Horror, the card game, and you're just trying to see how the game flows and operates before you even make any decisions on any products here that GameGenic has released. Now, because I am such a crazy person for this game, I wanted everything they released. Now, I'm really excited to go through all these different products and show you each and every one of them, especially the neoprene mats. I'm a huge fan of having those backdrops to make the game look even more cool on the table. But this product right here, Game Night Chest, was by far the one I was most excited about. Now, I already had two storage solutions, which you can see in my Board Game Bling video I talked about earlier if you go watch it. So I've already got storage on a mass scale situated and good. But what Game Night Chest does, which I didn't have with those other third-party storage solutions, is allows you to store the game in something a little more portable, allowing you to bring it to the game table a little easier. My storage solutions I picked up third party, as most of you know, those were, well, very fragile. They looked awesome, but I would not be carrying those things around, especially like a suitcase, as I don't think they can handle the weight, whereas a storage solution like this is literally perfect. Now, there are two reasons why I'm so excited about the Game Night Chest. The first one is a minor bump in terms of convenience, but the second one is a huge bump in convenience. The first one has to do with the fact that my existing storage solutions, I want to keep on the shelf, literally just pull them off in order to pull out a cycle or expansion that I'm currently playing, and that's it. There's nothing inside the solutions that I have right now that are going to get the game to the table any faster. They're essentially just storage for everything in an organized fashion, but not storage in a way that gets the game to the table quicker, and that's what the Game Night Chest really wins at that I don't currently have. It's that intermediate position between your card storage solution and actually getting the game mobile and moving to the table to then just be thrown on the table, opened up, pull your tomes out, pull your encounter decks out, have your tokens at the ready, and go and play the game. And that's what I needed. So when they announced this one, I was super, super happy. Now, as many of you know, I love using neoprene mats, so I've got all the neoprene mats here, but there is one not currently pictured, and that's this one right here, the Investigator game mat. This is a smaller play mat specific to be used with the Investigator, giving you a place to place the Investigator's cards and everything all watermarked, which is really nice. We'll take a look at this too. But these three right here are more on kind of the Magic the Gathering style, where they have artwork. They'll be familiar with you if you picked up play mats from chapter number 1. They'll have some nice artwork. However, these ones, they might be a step up actually in terms of quality, because these ones have shiny surfaces and premium stitching around them, which will make them hold up better in the long run. And the same can be said over here for this giant center game mat, although this one here focuses on giving you watermarked areas for all the major decks that you'll have to set up as part of gameplay. So if you're looking for one mat instead of kind of going after the individual ones, this would be the one to go for, as you'll be able to get everything your game sets up and uses onto this mat. That covers the overview and my thoughts. Let's now dig into each one of these boxes, and I'll show you each and every one of these up close. We'll start with the playmats. Let's start things off with the Arkham Horror, the card game center game mat. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. The colors really pop. You'll remember this artwork from the core box of chapter number 2, but blown up even bigger, and there's more to see inside of this illustration as things are larger on the table. You've also got the watermarked areas at the top here. I'll zoom in on that in a second, but I'm really impressed by the colors here. There's also stitching all around the edges to ensure the playmat over multiple uses will not fray. That drives me crazy with neoprene mats when they are not stitched in this day and age, as they just end up fraying over time and looking really poor in terms of quality. So I'm glad to see that implemented here. And as you can see, way up here at the very top, the discard pile, the encounter deck, agenda deck, act deck, and the scenario cards can be placed there. So there's more than enough room on this playmat. If you're playing true solo or even multi-handed, I believe you can easily get 2 characters going towards the bottom of this mat. 1 for sure, 2 might be a bit tight, but as a solo player, this is a perfect mat to get things organized and also just give you a nice visual boost as you're playing through the game. And before we move on to the smaller playmats, just a quick up-close view of the artwork. And here's the first of 3 beautifully illustrated mats to use with your investigators as you play through the game. Each one has a different illustration. This is the first one. Again, it has the premium stitching around the outside. All these mats from GameGenic are 2 millimeters in thickness. They have the ultra fine surface, which is great for any TCG as well. So you don't just have to use these for Arkham Horror the card game. They are fit to be used across any cards and any sleeves that you might have when you're using this particular playmat. It also has the anti-slip backside, as you'd expect from a mat, to ensure it doesn't move on the table, and it's made from natural rubber. That's basically the gist of each one of these, and as you see on the side of the box here, it gives you the dimensions of this playmat. Now, what makes this next playmat stand out is not only the illustration on it, but the fact that it has a shiny surface across it, which you can see rippling across as I move it like this. It also still has the stitched edging and everything else about the other one you saw. You'll notice the shiny game mat mentioned right on the box. The third and final game mat of these size of playmats, this one is not a shine game mat. This one is just a standard playmat with the stitched edging. I could have seen how a shine element to this would have made it really pop, but honestly, as it is right now, it's already crazy and vivid. It's pretty impressive, and it's definitely a fun one to use for your investigator. Now, if you're one of those individuals that prefers not to have a giant illustration across the playmat, you just need something to keep your investigator organized on the table. This does a fantastic job having watermarked areas for all your different things you'll be adding onto your character with the iconography in the top left or top right of these slots. You also see your health and sanity areas here, a spot for your investigator card, your resources, your hand left and right slots, and over here any arcane and additional cards. So you've got all the room you need in order to get your investigator to the table, and also takes up a lot less space on the game table. It also has premium stitching, and here's a look at the size of this playmat. The playmats for the game look phenomenal. Wouldn't be surprised to see more Chapter 2 based playmats coming in the future from GameGenic. Who knows what the future might hold there. Now, next up, we have the Investigator deck tomes. As you saw with prior iterations of deck tomes, there is one for each character class color, so you can pick up as many as you want for any of these, depending on which types of characters you've created or typically use. If you want one of each of them, you'll need all 6 of them here. Now, once you've seen one of them, you've in essence seen how the rest of them are going to work. The only difference is going to be the coloring you can see on the iconography and the writing on the deck tome itself. So I'm going to go ahead and crack one of these open and show you it. Maybe we'll go ahead and check out the orange one, and then I'll show you all the rest unboxed on the table here, but we'll only actually go through the one. When you crack open one of these Investigator deck tomes, you'll simply go ahead and just grab from the cardboard lip here and pull straight out. And the entire thing will come straight out at that point. And then from here, you can just go ahead and grab it and slide it straight out. You can see the awesome looking, oh, that's so good. That looks amazing on the side. Love that font. And you've got the iconography of the class here on the very front. You've got an opening here, which we're going to go ahead and do from the very bottom that kind of wraps around to the front and opens up like this. You've got a couple things inside that, of course, you do not need, so we'll take these out. And you've got some dividers here, or a divider, I should say, included inside to keep things organized. And you've got the Elder sign there at the very bottom. Again, all color coordination across the entire tome box. You've got your ability to put your character card right in the very front of whichever character you have created for this tome. Now, what's nice to see is that when you get your Investigator inside the box, you'll be able to choose which side of the box you want to have facing out, whether it just says Arkham Horror, and the color, of course, will give away the character class is tied to. You also have the iconography of that symbol in the very front and one on the side as well, so it doesn't matter how you have it situated on your shelf, you'll be able to visually see it. Of course, the back here has a very muted GameGenic logo on the back, which I like because it just blends right in and doesn't take away from everything else. Now, here's a look at the GameGenic Investigator deck tome, which was released during chapter number 1. I have one of each color of these as well. And the biggest thing I noticed is, of course, the design of these is very, very close in terms of how they look. Not much of a difference, but the fabric of the actual box is much different. This is more of a leatherette feel is what they call it, whereas this one here is more of a microfiber feel, which I think is probably more prone to having gunk and spills actually get into this to the point where it could be tough to clean it out. So if you're one of those people who's drinking a Coke next to your game and you happen to see spills occur quite often, probably avoid this one because I believe it would soak straight in and potentially ruin it. Whereas this one here could absolutely take a spill of water and or pop and stuff, and it would basically be less likely to have it embed inside the fabric itself, which is good. But in terms of the build structure of both of these, they're exactly the same. They provide the same kind of card divider on the inside. They look the same. The biggest difference, I think, is the foil aspect and more of a premium look to the darkened version. I really like this one and the foil versus this one here, the more muted kind of, simplistic look. But there's some out there that might actually prefer this, and this one is likely discounted now. So if you don't have any and you don't want to pay full price, you might find these ones used or find them brand new at a reduced price. I've unboxed all 6 of them. Here's a quick look at the side as well as the front. At the end of the day, you have the option to store these any way you feel, and I really like the foil touch to these ones and the more premium feel of the actual box itself versus the old ones. The Investigator deck tomes looked awesome. Very happy with how those newest iterations came out. The premium art sleeves are up next. There's 2 packs. Now, these ones are going to have the same backs as the primary decks they sleeve. So you've got ones for the Investigators, for example, here, one for the Encounter deck. So you can use these if you wish. If you're not a sleever, you're not missing out on anything because the backs of these sleeves match what's on the backs of the cards already. If you are a sleever, these could be what you're looking for. They're premium sleeves. They're high quality, 100 microns thick. They're going to be nice for you. But if you already have sleeves, you may not need these. When you crack open one of the boxes, you'll find that the sleeves are in their own protective package. And once the sleeves are free of the package, you'll find some textured art sleeves. So they have some nice grit on the back there that you can feel. And if you flip them over to the opposite side, you get an idea as to how they look on the front. And you've got some additional information on the box as to what these sleeves have. So at the end of the day, you've got multiple options for sleeving. Your Investigators can use those ones, Encounter deck can use these ones, and you're good to go. Now, if you're like me and you might already have sleeves for, say, the Investigators, and you don't need any more for those because maybe you picked them up already, but maybe your Encounter deck is just being sleeved with regular translucent sleeves that are not fancy on the back side. This might give you another little boost visually on the table using these ones, as the deck is typically face down until cards get revealed. And this is the kind of deck you could buy maybe 2 or 3 of and be able to sleeve the actual Encounter decks you're currently using in your campaign and reuse those sleeves over and over. Or if you want to be crazy, pick up multiples and multiples of these and sleeve everything. Now, for me personally, I think 1 or 2 of these is perfect. Moving on to the next official accessories released by GameGenic, the Premium Chaos Tokens and Bag, as well as the Premium Connector Tokens. Now, these 2 products, to be completely honest, if they were released anywhere near the beginning of chapter number 1, these things would have been sold out so fast you would have seen them, because at that point in time, I think everybody was trying to find ways in order to upgrade their tokens, their bag, and to get better connector tokens in general between the different location cards. And that's what these connector tokens are for, is when you have different locations during playing gameplay around the table. Typically, you're cross-referencing icons on the cards, and that can become kind of tedious when you're trying to plan your strategy. Instead, just dropping down a connector in between them to say whether you're going one way, both ways, or multiple ways was super nice. And in the core box for Chapter 2, they actually finally included cardboard connector tokens, which is great. So you don't necessarily need these, but these are the premium versions of that core box cardboard versions you can get in Chapter number 2. And of course, you got a premium chaos token and bag combination there as well. So I think these are going to be the two probably most common upgrades for newcomers into Chapter number 2 or people from Chapter number 1 that never got around to any kind of third-party upgrades. These are probably going to be highly sought after. So let's go ahead and take a look at each of them. Just like you saw with the sleeves, inside of the box, they are protected inside of their own package. And then when that package is completely open, you've got a whole bunch of acrylic premium looking connector arrows here. These are awesome. So you'll see there is a solid side of the picture on the one side, but if you turn them over, you kind of have the translucent look, which is a premium side essentially. So you'll want to place it like this face down rather than like this. Maybe you can go either way, but this is going to give you ones that are just single direction. You've got double directions in there, and there's also the multiple directions. So if you pick this one up, you can essentially just swap out all of the cardboard ones that came as part of the core box, and this will take care of you in order to keep things connected and also looking pretty good on the table. Now inside the premium chaos tokens and bag, you're going to find yourself a drawstring bag full of those chaos tokens. So we'll take a look at those tokens in a second, but first the drawstring bag itself, because it's by far the best bag they have put out for the game without a doubt. Now all the other ones previously have been small, and that's been a problem for people's hands. They don't always all fit in the drawstring bag that they give you as part of the core and prior options. This one is literally the easiest one to get inside of by far. It's also absolutely massive in its size, which is great. One thing I really like is that it's tapered, so it's kind of tapered in and tapered in. So essentially the base of the bag itself is made of a different, more heavy-duty fabric that allows the chaos tokens to spread out evenly along the bottom of the bag. So when your hand gets in the bag, it goes in easy, but then you can move your hand around inside and you can pick chaos tokens from anywhere along the base of the bag. That's awesome because, as many of you know, with drawstring bags, when you throw a chaos token back in, sometimes it basically goes in the same position you pulled it out from because they're all just stacked on top of each other. This solves that problem. As you go ahead and shake the bag, all those chaos tokens are now laying across the bottom of the bag, and it even stays vertical if you want it to be like that. It's strong enough of a bag to do that. And then you can just reach in, you can move your finger around the bottom of the actual bag and pick a token and draw it out. And ironically, when I pulled something from the bag, it ends up being a terrible token. And now this one is not a terrible looking token. You can see the acrylic look to it. It's a premium token. It's going to be better than the cardboard one. So the artwork is very clear on the one side. On the opposite side, it has that acrylic piece on the very top. And that gives it a bit more weight, quite a bit more weight than a cardboard token. Now, it's not going to be as premiumly thick and heavy as something third party out there, because some people have created some really heavy tokens. So if you want something really heavy, you might want to look elsewhere, but you could also take these acrylic tokens and put a coin capsule on top of them that would not only increase their size, but also increase their weight. And I think at that point, it would be perfect. So I think that's another really popular addition. I did this on a bunch of tokens I bought third parties. I put coin capsules on top of them that increased their size and also just made them feel that much cooler coming out of the box, or to the bag, I should say. And they just feel better in the hand when they're a little larger. These ones are nice and definitely better than the cardboard versions. So you'll be happy with these. But if you want to go to the next level, I definitely recommend the coin capsules. Let's take a quick look at some of the other tokens inside the bag. Again, the acrylic front on that elder sign and the artwork on the back, which is very vivid. And again, you can see these ones with the different numerical values. This one is a 0, not a bad one to pull. And that's going to do it for checking out the premium connector tokens and the premium chaos tokens and bag. And last but not least, let's check out the game night chest, including the token Silo XL, which is included as part of the box. You can see right here, it slides in at the very bottom. You'll see it as we go through this. There's 15 removable trays, and there's 5 different sizes, so you can find a fit for your tokens, no matter if they're the official ones or third-party ones. And here's that storage solution outside the box with the awesome looking emblem that also matches what was on the Chaos bag we saw earlier. I really like the color pick for this as well, because when the light hits this thing, it really shines. Now the logo can be found not only on the top of the box, but also this side and the opposite side. So in the end, no matter how you have it stored on your shelf, you'll be able to see that logo from miles away. Now let's dig inside this thing and see all the different compartments and storage options. As most of you know from previous storage solutions that GameGenic has put together, they have magnetic seals for their boxes, so that ensures that when you put the lid down, it's going to click into place and stay closed. This also makes sure that when you're opening it, it just feels a little bit more premium than a typical box. It also allows the lid to be used in various ways because you can literally detach it from the product itself. You can see here, you can essentially detach the entire lid right off, and there's even an icon or logo right in the middle. Now on the top layer of the box here, we have two areas of standard size cards. Whether they're unsleeved or sleeved, you'll be able to place cards in there like encounter decks for a campaign that you're going through. Now this smaller, more narrow section up here can be used for things like the Chaos token bag and other tokens that you might want to place up here that are a bit longer. And then over here on the far right hand side, you can get up to 4 Investigator deck tomes in those slots. I'll actually take 4 of mine and put them in to show you what it looks like. The Investigator deck tomes look and fit perfectly on the right-hand side as designed. You can, in fact, place other ones in here if you wish, but again, these spaces are primarily used for unsleeved or sleeved cards, likely encounter cards or maybe more player cards. You could put 2 more tomes in here if you had all 6, but the whole point of this game night chest is to get up to 4 players or 4 investigators ready for gameplay. You're not going to be playing with up to 6 anyway, so in that case, the 4 works perfectly, and once you've got those 4 situated in the box with the encounter cards sleeved or not, you're going to have everything you need in this top section ready to go besides some of the smaller components, and that's where the bottom section of this box comes in. Now there are 2 cutout holes on the side of the box if you want to place your finger in there to bring it down, or you can just grab the edges like this and pull it down like so, and that's going to reveal a number of different tiers. I'm going to change the box orientation so you can see it more easily. Now, as you can see in here a little bit better, as I propped up the box with a tome deck, you can see this blank space right here. It's about 1 inch wide, maybe 1.5 inches wide, allowing you to place campaign booklets in there and also other expansion booklets in there, rule books, that kind of thing. So depending on which campaign you've set yourself up for and you have ready to go inside this box, you'll have the appropriate book. Even if it's a coil-bound one from the revised Chapter 1 content, you'll be able to slip it in here, no problem, and I like that a lot. And underneath here is that Token Silo XL, which was included as part of the box. And here's the Token Silo XL, which I'm really excited about because it gets all my tokens, even the third-party ones, into an organized fashion with one box. And I currently have my tokens strewn across, I believe, 2, 3, 4 different spots, and I'd love to get them all into one spot, and this is going to do that perfectly. Now this silo will stay secure as there's clasps all around the outside on every single side, but essentially just lift it up, put your fingers underneath in the middle, and lightly lift these, and you'll see they just pop open nicely, and you can do this on around all 4 sides, and once they all lift, then you have access to the main compartment here, which has multiple different trays inside of various sizes, and of course you can change the configuration of how it looks if you wish, or just run with exactly how it's situated here. I cannot wait to store all my tokens inside this tray from the original game, the cardboard ones. I can also store my third-party ones that I picked up over the years. There's multiple trays for that, and getting it all into one space is going to be nice. And you can see each one of these trays can also be lifted right out of this area. So if you're actually playing, you can simply pull them out and place them on the table, making setup and tear down very easy. And of course, when you want to put them back, it's simply just dropping them into place. Again, you can remember the configuration as it's laid out here, or change things and basically mix it up as you feel. Now, as an example here, I've gone ahead and placed connector pieces from GameGenic inside of this, a big tray right here. So if I'm playing the game, I might just be happy with having a giant tray for all the connector pieces mixed together. Or I might sit there and say this tray is not being utilized well enough. Only half of it is full. And so instead, I'll go ahead and break these connector pieces out by how many connections they have, whether it's single or 1, 2, or multiple. And so by doing that, I can actually have this larger tray for something else that maybe takes up more space. But that's the fun of it. You get to decide exactly how you want to break things out inside of this box. And then once it's set, you've got it set forever for every Arkham Horror the card game going forward. And I also like the fact that the token silo is transparent, so you can actually see the organization inside and whether the tokens you're looking for or the game components you're looking for are in that box. And that, my friends, wraps up my featured product video checking out all the new products GameGenic has released for Arkham Horror the card game from Fantasy Flight Games. I hope this video helps you make an informed decision on one, some, or all of these products if you're actually checking it out. And of course, if you're a huge fan of Arkham Horror the card game like I am, you might be looking at every single one of these to see what your use case is for each of them and whether it actually makes sense for you. And I really hope this video helped you make that decision. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you seem to be interested in out of the rest. Maybe you're interested in everything here, maybe just a specific product that you saw. But in any case, I would love to know which ones piqued your interest the most. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have not checked out Arkham Horror the card game and you want to see the game in action first, then definitely check out my play on the channel for chapter number 2's core box. That'll definitely give you a great idea as to how the game flows and operates. If you want to see third-party things I picked up over the years, check out my board game bling video for Arkham Horror the card game as well. Now, if you're new to the channel here or you've been here for some time and you have never jumped into the Discord server to say hi or to talk with other solo gamers, we're connecting there at all times, talking about games past, present, and future, and every other aspect of the hobby. We would love to have your voice as part of the equation. And also, if you enjoy what I do, it helps you get games off the shelf, helps you to find products of interest to you, and give you a great idea as to what you can expect when it's on your table, then check out the member option on the homepage where you can sign up and get perks that you can't get anywhere else, things like live streaming behind the scenes. I'm actually going to be doing one of those very soon, as well as a number of other perks and things like early access to videos. Thank you guys so much for your support, and as always, keep on rolling solo.